Hey, what's up, Nerd Herd? This is Brian. I thought about just skipping this week for new comics, but I got some other things I want to show you in addition to new comics, so yeah, I'm here. Coke. And you gotta share it with your friends. Um, yeah, so not a whole lot happened last week as far as new comics. In fact, um, I don't even really remember which ones are exactly new or not last week. I don't think anything really stood. Oh, one comic so far is kind of stood out to me, but I'll show you the rest of them. If any of these are actually older than last week, let me know because I don't really remember. It was kind of an uneventful week for new comics. But I got Rocket Raccoon #2. Um, so far, it's pretty much what I've expected it to be. A little bit more cartoony than is normal in the regular Galaxy or regular Guardians, as it's being drawn by Scotty Young, and he is more cartoony, and that's kind of why I like his work so much. And on top of that, I think it's kind of a little more. Even the writing is probably a little more cartoony, but it's a great book. It's actually surprising. Well, not surprisingly, but the shop I work at, we have an ad in like the local movie theaters before they play the movies. They throw up ads a lot now, at least in this area, and for local businesses. So our shop is running ads, and so over the last week and a half or so, we got a really. I don't spend a lot of time in the shop, so I probably don't hear it as much as it is actually happening. But I've heard at least a half a dozen people mention specifically that they didn't even know the shop was there, but because they went to see the Guardians movie and they liked the Guardians movie so much and they remember seeing our ad flash up on the screen before the movie, that they specifically came to find the shop and find Rocket Raccoon and Star Lord. And speaking of, here's Star Lord #2. I haven't read this one yet, but I kind of expect it to be decent. Um, Paco Medina is penciling it, and I'm not sure if he did the last one or not, but I think he did because it's very, very similar. Yes, he's so far. I think he's doing pretty good, except for occasionally. Where did it go? I saw really, yeah, like this right here. Just I don't know. His facial expression looks a little odd right here, but then again, he does a good job with the cheesecake. So I'm not gonna knock the guy. I think his work is pretty good so far. Um, then I picked up Vampirella. It's #3. Pay no attention to that price tag. That's definitely not what I paid for it. Just happens to be that another book that I bought came in this, and I put it in Mylar and just threw this book in this bag. Um, I've got to stop with the cheesecake, and because I've only been buying this book because it's Vampirella is Terry Dodson does a wonderful job on the covers. I haven't even been reading the book. I need to either stop or start reading it and figure it out. Another book that I think I'm going to drop is Nailbiter. I haven't read it. I don't know. I probably should at least read it before I go ahead and drop it. But something that just caught my eye is this ad on the back for this book called Birthright. It comes out in October. That's some beautiful artwork right there. So I think I'm going to have to pull this off the shelf for myself when it comes in. That looks really cool. No idea what it's about. Hinterkin number 10, and these books are in no particular order. I haven't read the last 2 issues, so I need to catch up with this. But I have been liking it, so I think I'll keep giving it a shot. Harbinger Omegas #1, and the variant, which is really cool because, well, it's not really cool because, but I think it's cool despite being Roblox, not Roblox, Minecraft. See, it's all Minecrafty. Only reason I even know what Minecraft is because my son likes Minecraft a lot. Now we're going to move on to Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man. This is issue #4. I believe this is David Marquez. I need to read it. because I believe it's going to be getting into the Spider-Verse, Edge of the Spider-Verse, which, give me a second, I'll find it. I think it's here. Which. If you picked up this little gem right here that we all thought was over, unless of course you got previews and you probably already knew, but another Superior Spider-Man took me by surprise. This is Superior Spider-Man number 32. Yeah, so it's almost been a week since this book has been out, so I'm going to rub my fucking mouth and throw out some spoilers. Turns out, and this is the part that throws me on this, is somehow Doc Ock in Peter Parker, in Spider-Man's body, I don't get it. He's been purged from Peter's body, but somehow his mind in Peter's body is still going. So somehow Doc Ock is trying to save himself, and he's doing it by going throughout different universes and pulling Spider-Man, the different versions of Spider-Man, different, whether it be Peter Parker or I believe there's a Gwen Stacy Spider chick, based on some of the images I've seen. So yeah, that's kind of ruining it for you. But yeah, so I don't understand. I just don't get it. If his mind was purged from Peter's body, how the fuck is it in another body? That little bit right there is like got me confused. Other than that, I like it. It's pretty cool so far. And then to go with that, got the Scotty Young variant. We got all the little spider spams. Yeah, we got Peter, of course. These two look pretty much like Peter, but then you got the spider armor, I guess. 2099's Peter. Is that Kane? Yeah, I think that's Kane. Scarlet Spider. That goofy costume. I think this is the Noir Spider or whatever. Venom. Fuck, I don't know. They're all Spider-Man. Then I've got Hulk versus Iron Man number 4. It's 3.4 from original, or it's original sin 3.4. Fuck, I don't know if I read this one. I don't remember. It couldn't have been that great if I'm scratching my head. But as of yet, I still haven't seen it. Oh yeah, I did read it. So yeah, there's no good Hulk beating Tony's ass in here, and it's disappointing to me. The Superior Foes of Spider-Man number 14. I kind of thumbed through it. Haven't read it. I should, but I haven't got to it yet. This Grayson number 2 is for my son, and there's also a variant cover. This month DC's doing selfie variant covers, so I don't know. I think it's kind of a lame idea. It's sure no fucking it's no bombshell covers, I'll tell you that. So based on the ones I've seen so far, Deadpool, Dracula's Gauntlet number 5, buying it for my kid. Fairest number 28. I need to read the last issue, and I need to read this issue because I do love this book. I just need to catch up with it. Figment number 3. Shit. This book, surprisingly, well, not so. I guess it shouldn't be so surprising because it is. It is a Disney property, and fuck all of Marvel's Disney property now. But yeah, I guess there's a ride down Disney World based on this, or that this is based on a ride in Disney World. So yeah, there's a lot of buzz about this book on at least on eBay. It is. I've noticed it going for the first 2 issues, going for like $20 or more for the 2 of them. They have. Let me see if I have them over here. I don't think I have them, but there is the first 2 issues have gone into second printings, both of them. But the funny thing is that I've been reading it, and it doesn't read as a children's comic book to me, like an Archie or a Sonic and Hedgehog kind of thing. It's got a good plot and story and all that shit, and the artwork is beautiful. But so at the shop I work at, this goes up with the regular comics, just like everything else. The superhero stuff, the crime noir, all the Image books, all the Vertigo books. It goes right on the shelf with all that stuff. But I've been to no less than 4 other comic shops in my area in the last week and a half, and all of them, actually no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've been to 5 comics shops in the last week and a half, and they all have Figment in their children's section, where the little kids can bend them and tear them and fuck them all up. But it's their product; they can do what they want with it. So yeah, Figment, because it's that DC thing, or that Disney thing going on. I guess a lot of people that may or may not be into comics at all are picking this book up because it's one. I would like to think that it's just because it's beautiful artwork and all that jazz, but I think a lot of it has to do with the Disney people. Then the next book I've got up for your fine viewing pleasure is Original Sin number 5.3, which is Thor and Loki in the 10th realm. Now, in this book, Angela's kicking the snot out of Thor, and it's pretty good. I don't think that so it has not been revealed yet that these two are, that she's the missing sister. And I don't know if that is in fact the case, but I think that is the case. I'm guessing that she's his sister. So I'm guessing that in the next issue 4 or 5.4, I'm guessing that, he's probably going to find out that she's his sister and maybe, I don't know, join forces in the 5th issue. Who knows? Then I have New Warriors number 8. Good stuff. I enjoyed it. Liked it. Now, this is a book that kind of shocked me. It came out of nowhere because I really don't look into previews that much. But I picked it up for 2 reasons. One, it just looked interesting, and 2, it's an Image number 1, and I think we all know that Image has kind of been kicking it in the ass the last year or so with probably the last couple of years with new titles that do well. So it's issue number 1 for Imperial. And what I like about this book is it kind of reminds me of that TV show, The Greatest American Hero. And it reminds you that in the sense that you have a character who is getting great power bestowed upon them, and they maybe are ending up with no guidance on how to use that power, and maybe more than a little reluctant to have the power in the first place because this guy's got a life and he wants to live his life. And he's like, well, hey, dude, can you come back later on when it's a little bit better for me? And I get the feeling that from the way this issue ends that, no, time is not waiting, or time waits for no man, and you're just going to have to suck it up and figure out your life and figure out your superhero and all at the same time. So, Imperial number 1, I highly recommend this book, just based on the first issue. So that's it for that kind of stuff. Now, a little story. Not last weekend, but the previous weekend, I decided to go go to the flea market, and I hit up 3 flea markets, and I struck the fuck out. Didn't find shit at any of them. One flea market, not a single comic book to be found. The second flea market that's held at a county fairground in what is like one of those big metal dome kind of buildings. It's really long, kind of like an airplane hangar, but it's rounded and not like square. That's where there's normally a vendor. He calls himself like Booth 3, and he's usually he knows what he's got as far as comics go, and he prices them that way. Not necessarily really high, but not 20. There's no 25-cent bin there that you're gonna find gold in. But I believe that they're, based on the sign that I saw, that the flea market is closed for the weekend or the week, and it'll be open in another week or 2. I'm guessing they're having their annual fair. So that's strike number 2. And then strike number 3 came at the other fair, or at the other flea market, where I found two vendors out of the entire place that had any comic books at all, and they were both like, one was like half of a short box, and the other guy was just like some ratty ass box. And the one guy, it was $2 a book, or two for $3, which isn't horrible. Then the other guy, it was all straight $2 a book. I'm like, and it really wasn't stuff that it was kind of modern stuff that wasn't really great, and I don't know. I just didn't. I have a hard time at a flea market paying retail prices. I just do. It just doesn't make sense to me. So while I was out there in that area, we had some customers that came in the store, and one day, and they were looking for this, that, and the other. We really didn't have it, so they gave me their business card, and they own an antique store in this town, and so I was like, you know what? Let me go check out their store and just BS with them for a little bit, and see if I can get them to give me their want list of books that they want. Maybe I could find stuff for them. So while I was there, I was talking to the owner, and it was all great and all cool, and he directed me to a store across the street where they have comic books, but before I went over there, he showed me some stuff that he had. So, and his stuff, I kind of was like, ooh, this is kind of cool. So I went over to went across the street, went over to the other store. It's kind of like a little marketplace where it's like a bunch of vendors in there, and one person hangs out at the register and kind of keeps an eye on everything. I didn't really see anything that was spectacular that I wanted, and plus I think some of it was a little bit pricey, a little pricey, and this and that and the other. So I went back to the first guy's store, who's already a customer at the shop I work at, to see about a couple of books that he had that were slabbed, and this one was slabbed, and this one. So anyway, I think I got a decent price on these books, and I'll show you what they are. The first book he had priced at 1.25, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'll work with you on that." I'm like, "Well, how much will you work with me?" He's like, "How about $80?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, how about $80?" And after getting home and looking on eBay and all that, I think I paid fair price for it, as far as what it's going for on eBay by now and all that. So I got this little gem. It's X-Men 28, and for those of you in the know, it's the first appearance of Banshee, who is, he was one of the Giant Size X-Men. He's one of the mutants that Xavier pulled together to help rescue the original X-Men, and he stuck around after Angel, Beast, Marvel Girl. Well, no, Marvel Girl really didn't leave, but after Angel, Beast, and Iceman bounced, he stuck around and was part of the X-Men for a while. I always liked I always liked Banshee. I always thought he was a really cool character, Mr. Sean Cassidy. So, and it's a 5.5. So for $80, I'm pretty happy to have this book. So then the next book that I got was this one right here. And after I got it home, and I already have a copy of this book, but it's my book from when I was I picked it up in I don't know, it looks like it says 86. So I picked it up when I was a kid, and that one didn't survive so well. It's probably mid-grade, so just like that last book. But this book is a 9.2, and it's X Factor number 6. He had this one priced at like $145, and he's like, "Again, I'll work with you on that." I'm like, "Well, how much?" He's like, $100. I'm like, I didn't really give it too much thought. I'm like, all right, that sounds good. So, and X Factor number 6, 9.2 for $100. So, I was like, two. Oh, wait a minute. Let me do some math here. Yeah, I saved quite a bit by buying from this guy. Anyway, so these are my two, struck out at a flea market, but I think I came home with some gold anyways. And then I have one more book to show you. It's not super high grade. It's probably around like, I don't know, 7.0. I don't know. Anyway, this is kind of one of those, it's kind of like a holy grail book for me, kind of. The book I didn't really think to own because it always goes for high dollar. I ended up getting it with my employee discount. I ended up getting it for about $100, just under it. And it's this book right here, Amazing Spider-Man 121. I think it's interesting that her death is more significant and more valuable. I think that it's. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty certain that this book is more in demand, more sought after, and more expensive than her first appearance. I would have to look that up. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably full of shit. But yeah, so I mean, it looks like it's in great shape, except for the real problems come in this lower. Excuse me. Come in this lower corner right here, and then right here, and right. The bottom of the book isn't great. You see that corner? It's kind of wonky. That little. It's almost like a little hole in the cover. And then this right here, it's like a little divot and dent. And then this. So yeah, with the exception of that, which I'm happy about, because honestly, if it weren't for that bottom part of the cover, this would have been way out of my price range. I'm thinking, if it didn't have those problems with it, it'd probably be $400 or $500. So I got it for like, it was priced at $125 for me, and then like I said, I had an employee discount. And I'm not actually, you know what? I think that this might be a subscription crease problem, because it's right here in the center, and as I look at the book, I kind of see a ridge right down the center, and I can feel it too. But either way, I'm gonna look at the back of the book real quick. Like I said, either way, I'm happy with it for $100, because it's so I've got most of the more recent, key issues for Amazing Spider-Man. I'll probably never, ever, ever in a million years get a #1, so I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah, this has got a subscription crease. You see it? So, yeah, there you go. There it is. So you can see that crease right down the center of the book. Now, on the cover, it really doesn't look too bad. I mean, I was only barely able to notice it after close examination. But so I've got 121. I've got no, I don't have 100. I might have 100. I don't remember. But I've got this 121, which is Gwen's death. I've got 122, which is the death of the first death of the Green Goblin, I suppose. I don't know if he's been dead again or not. I've got 129, which was the first appearance of what's his face, the Punisher. I've got 298, which is McFarlane's first work. I've got 300. I got 3 copies of 300 actually. 2 of them aren't great. One of them's just pretty good. So I've got like 3 copies of 300. I got a lot of shit, but I think from the 70s on up, these are probably some. I got most of the really great books. Now it's interesting to me that back in the day, it was what happened inside of the book, the events that happened in books most of the time that drove prices on them. Now you go and you look at something like, I don't know if I got anything laying around here, but the J. Scott Campbell covers for Spider-Man, where he was just doing the covers. He wasn't doing the interior artwork. They would have some other scrub do the artwork on the inside, like, John Romita Jr. But like 5 or I don't know, 6, whatever. You all know the one where Black Cat is sitting on the cover and then Spider-Man's the top half of his costume. Cheesecake, stuff like that. Those books are pricey. They're in like the $30, $40 range, based solely on the cover. And So I think it's interesting how things have changed. That yes, of course, events that happen in the book, important events can drive price and demand, but more often than not now, it's price and demand is driven by cheesecake rather than what happens in the book. And I think that has a lot to do with, at least for the Marvel books, because I mean, really, unless they introduce a new character like Carnage and Venom that just take off, there's really not a whole lot new that's really super significant in these books, because they've got all kinds of characters already, and they're all they've already got their following and stuff, and so introducing new characters probably isn't always high on their list because they got so many to choose from already. Although I'm hoping that Silk is I'm hoping Silk really hits, because just from the very first issue of this volume of Amazing Spider-Man, with when you see the spider scamper off and bite somebody else, it's like, ooh, what's going on? So I'm hoping that has something. I'm hoping she hits and things are cool there. Now, folks, I don't know. It's been like 26 minutes of me running my fucking mouth. So yeah, you guys have a good day. Later.